Hello YouTubers, and here's a blast from the past. This is Doctor Who The Dalek Collector Set 1, released all the way back in 2008, and these three were the first classic Daleks released by Character Options. And here they are in their box, their original box here, and it does display the Daleks off really nicely. You can see the three of them posed there. Three posable action figures, and again we've got the David Tennant era logo with a really weird sort of blue sort of swishing, sort of makes it look like the scanner. You can see Dalek Collector Set 1 written at the front, character options 5+, and a nice sort of orangey sort of fiery vortexy background to them, which really does set them off quite nicely. On the side we've got a picture of each Dalek and what story they're from, so Dalek from the Dead Planet, and the only reason they call it that is because, well, you can't really call it a Dalek from the Daleks, otherwise it sounds a little bit odd. So, First Doctor era there, and also Supreme Dalek from Planet of the Daleks. Again, Third Doctor era dates. Interestingly, unlike the other sort of ID cons that you have on other figures from this era, it's actually the prototype images, not of the actual Daleks themselves. Again, on the other side here, we've got Dalek from Genesis of the Daleks. Again, Fourth Doctor era and titles. And on the back, we've got information about each one of the Daleks and what story they're from, and a bit of information about the story. You can pause it to read this in your own time, but I imagine you already know the information that is on here. Again, a load of information at the bottom, and also what the package contains. And oh look, the holographic sticker, which mysteriously went missing during the Series 6 line of figures. On the top, I really love the fact that we've got these Gallifreyan symbols embossed into the plastic. We don't have that on the bottom, unfortunately, but it is nice to have it on the top, which does make it feel pretty special. But anyway, let's get these figures out of the box and let's review them, shall we? Okay, so here they are out of their box. So let's start off with August to Newest, which is how they were packaged in this box. So let's take a look at the Dead Planet Dalek, or the first Dalek, or the first Dalek design, or the Dalek from the Daleks, whatever you want to call this. This is pretty excellent, and the three of these do use pretty similar sculpts, but then again, the Daleks from the 60s all the way up to the 80s were essentially these original 60s ones just repainted and refurbished over the years. We can see here, though, on the eye here, it has just been left white, and you can see that they do have the 9 clumps of rings at the end. Though, unfortunately, they are not individual rings, they are just one clump like that. I know it would be a bit more difficult to do, but if they can do the 5 rings, like on here, then I'm sure they'll be able to do the 9 rings that these have, but oh well. We've got the dome lights here, which are the ping pong ball dome lights, which they would incorrectly use on the Troughton Daleks for some reason. You can see the mesh in there, which does look really nice. You can see the little greasing line there. It looks exactly like the mesh in that would have looked. It is pretty hard to see it on screen, particularly in the Daleks, because of the lighting, but it is nice that it is there, and it is the same mesh that they used on the Genesis Daleks, and pretty much nearly every single classic Dalek released, apart from the Supreme over there, but we'll get on him into a minute. You can see we've got the 2 silver bands going round, so no mesh on that. And it does look really nice in the fact that they've painted it grey. The gun has been given the 3 struts along the side, and also the little sort of dimple bit at the minute. The plunger is black, and interestingly, which I'll go into in a minute, on the Genesis one, they've actually given us a white, well, a silver dot to represent the screw going in, whereas on this one, this would make more sense on this one, because on this one there was actually a magnet in the end, and the reason the screw was made was pretty large metal, so the magnet could be attached in there like that. So it's interesting that this one doesn't have it, that one doesn't have it, but this one does, for some reason. You can see the hemispheres are being painted in a very light sort of baby blue colour, and Exonix wheels as ever. for the detail, it is fantastic. Articulation, it's the same for every single Dalek. 360 at the dome, eye stalk up and down, gun on a ball joint, plunger on a ball joint. Now, it is worth mentioning, with these original 3-pack Daleks, you got one of two things. You either got ridiculously stiff ball joints that couldn't move at all, or you got ones that were ridiculously loose. Like this gun is fairly loose, not too bad, and the plunger is a little bit stiff, but not too bad. But I remember my brother, who got this set back in the day like I did, pretty much nearly snapped his plunger off trying to move it. It was a real problem with these original ones. It was something to do with the paint that they were using around there was pretty much harden up and get stuck around the rim. So that was a real problem back then. But overall, the Dalek from the Galaxy does look really nice. And also, the eyes were removable here. However, that was another problem, as a lot of the time, you would get eyes that would simply just drop out incredibly easily. And that was a problem that they had all the way up until they redesigned the mechanism of the eye. Now, this one is actually pretty good. It's not too loose, it's not too stiff either. You had somewhere was really loose and would just drop out or won't stay up. So this one, pretty good. It was in character sort of heyday, and when their quality control was normally pretty good. And with this first one, I guess they were just working out all of the kinks for it. But anyway, let's get on to the Planet Supreme. Pretty much one of the most unique Dalek, not just figures, but Daleks in general, since it is essentially just a repurposed movie Dalek. And to be honest, if they hadn't released this one in 2008, or maybe 2009, I doubt we would have seen it later on, because it uses so many specialised parts that were only ever seen on this Dalek release, and nowhere near after that. For one, the eye, which is a torch bought from B&Q, stuck onto a Dalek eye stalk. So the eye for this is unique, and it does look really good. I think they should have made this rather than white, make it a slightly tinted yellow colour, but white is fine. Well, you can see there they've even got the red and the red rim at the end, and the 5 discs there. It is a pretty long eye stalk. It is, I think, the longest eye stalk on any standard Dalek figure. You can see the dome lights here, which were in reality jam jars. You can see they're purple. And these are specialised dome lights, only used on this Dalek and no others after that. And unfortunately, they can snap off pretty easily. Which is why when you see these on eBay, you do see a lot of them with one or both these dome lights snapped off. Going to the next section here, you can see, for one, there's a lot of dust on this, because this is literally been sitting on a shelf for God knows how many years. But you can see here, you've got little rivets in between the individual sort of neck discs there, and also there is no mesh, it is just completely smooth. And these are pretty large discs in comparison to other Daleks. So again, the neck section and the neck discs are a unique part, and it is nice that they have made that unique and just haven't reused this, which they did with pre-ever, and you don't have the individual neck struts going down either. Blame, there's a lot of dust which I just can't get off. The base section here and the slacks and that are pretty much the same as the Genesis Arc, which isn't a bad thing because it looks really nice. You can see all the hemispheres are being painted the sort of bronze gold colour, and the slacks, the individual slacks, are being painted as well. A little bit of quality control even there, but it overall is really good. Again, from characters here, you can even see they've got the indentation of the circle here, and they've got the gun as being silver, and the plungers being silver. You can see here what happens when we had to move the ball joints and they won't move. And oh look, it scrapes the paint off, and this was a really common problem with these early ones. It would really happen a lot, and it was bloody irritating. Taking a look at the fender, it is a lot thicker, a lot chunkier than both the others. I should have mentioned this one is really thin, which matches, but yeah, it's basically a movie Dalek base. You can see underneath there, it does have the same sort of things as the other ones. Overall, a really, really nice Dalek, and I really do like this Supreme. It's probably one of my favourite designs out of the lot of them. Okay, then moving on to the Genesis Dalek, my favourite Dalek design overall. You can see here the base is again different, which is nice that they had these three bases off initially, because again, character of today love reusing parts. You can see the eye stalk is again unique, this time having the pupil design in the front, and also the eye being a lot shorter than both the Dead Planet and, of course, the Planet Supreme. You can see the 5 rings though individually, and they are painted blue. And it's nice that this is not just paint, but actually it is the silver bit is actually slightly thicker than the grey bit of the eye, which is really nice. And they've even gone to the detail of sculpting the ball to be the correct colour. The dome lights, unlike the later design, are just made to look in the same shape as the Mini Cooper lights, though they are a little bit smaller, and also they don't have the ridges on, and also there's a lot of dust. This Dalek is being painted in the correct gloss colour, although saying that a lot of my Genesis Daleks, including this one, have sort of lost their gloss over the years. The gloss, I imagine, was probably some sort of coating, and that has probably rubbed off over years. You can see on the slacks here, although they are just all grey, they've been given a silver wash to really bring out the effect of it, to make it look like the actual metal of it, and it does look really nice. Again, some of it, I don't know if that's paint apps or if it's just rubbed off. Again, these Daleks were heavily plagued with back in the day. I do have multiple ones of this set. I think this is actually one I got later on, much later on, actually. You can see again the circle piece, and this again is just a separate piece you can see on this one, so they could swap out if it had the circle or if it didn't have the circle. The gun is interesting. They decided to go for the sort of copper coloured gun from Genesis for some reason, which is a bit odd. I don't know why they went for this rather than just black, but character options have yet to release a Genesis Dalek with a standard black gun, even to this day. So, hey, there's a variation you could do right there. I don't know if it was just going to be different or what, but yeah. You can see here, we've got the silver dot there, though I never liked this as a kid, and I remember, and this is how I know I got this one later on, because with the sex I had at the time growing up as a kid, I always used to black that out with a bit of black permanent marker. I didn't like it, it just looked a bit odd. And also the fact it was so huge as well. Like, if it was just a teeny tiny silver dot, then yeah, but that just looks way too oversized. And if it's meant to be the silver screw, which I've been told, numerous times that yes it is, then why, one, is it so big, and why is it only on this guy? Because technically these two should have it as well, but they don't. So why does this one have it? Don't know. But the hemispheres have been painted a nice glossy colour. And again, they do look really nice. You can see all the individual sections around there. And the base would later be revised to have the two-tone base, where it would be the sort of rubber bit on the bottom and the fiberglass bit on the top. But since this was very early into the run, they didn't do that. Again, on the 3 wheels. And the gun on this one, and the plunger just does not want to move. On this one, I don't want to break it. Common thing with this one is, oh look, the eye comes off incredibly easily, no force required. It sits on there pretty well, but can drop out incredibly easily. So again, that is an issue. But let's get on to my conclusion, shall we? So, overall, what do I think of this set? Well, just look at it. It looks really nice. And it is a nice to have, Daleks from sort of different eras and that, and it is a really great army builder set. For example, we've got the lovely Supreme, which is a really iconic sort of looking Dalek, even though it was only seen pretty briefly. And then we've got the first design, obviously, probably the most recognisable classic Dalek design, which is the 70s grey from Genesis of the Daleks, which would sort of keep going on Although it did start technically in D, it was made more famous by Genesis. So yeah, a little bit of an odd set, really, because for the first 3 Daleks to be released, this one, Genesis Daleks, makes all the sense in the world, but releasing these 2 alongside is a little bit odd because we're normally used to either the black and silver Supreme Dalek, and for the 60s, you know, we more used to the sax, but it was nice to have a nice variety out of these. And this was a great set. I've held it for a long time personally as probably the best Dalek set that we ever got from Character Options. And it irritates me so much that they haven't re-released it. Seriously, re-release this set at B&M. Re-release it for, you know, the $16.99, or even if it was £20, or even $25 if you were really pushing it. Then fine. Mainly because, you know, it's such a great set, but also for this Dalek individually. Whereas these 2 have had re-releases elsewhere, this one being as a sound effects Dalek, and the Genesis Dalek has done the rounds quite a few times in several variations. This Supreme Dalek from Planet of the Daleks only ever released in this set. Now, there was the 3 3/4 inch version of this, but this one is nicer, and this one, you know, has translucent dome lights, which they didn't bother doing for the 3 3/4 inch one for some reason. They clearly could, but they didn't. So yeah, that is why I would really like this set to be re-released someday. Who knows? By the time you're watching this video, it might already have been re-released, because we still don't know what this year's B&M sets are going to be. Hopefully they re-release this, but if they don't, then, well, try and track down one of these. Unfortunately, these sets are pretty expensive, which is a bit ironic because I remember Forbidden Planet at one point how these reduced to, I think it was, I know they had them definitely reduced to a tenner. I think at one point they were even maybe reduced to a £5 when they were really trying to clear them out. But anyway, that's it for this review. It's been a long time since I've reviewed a figure, particularly a Dalek figure. So anyway, let me know what you think of this review and this set. And I'll see you in whatever the hell video I've got planned next. Bye-bye.